Now, if you guys watched any of Jake Asman's show earlier, he had Connor Hughes on for an interview, and Hughes made it seem like he's hearing Bryce Huff for $12 to $14 million a year is his market. Matt, I'll throw it to you first. What was your reaction to hearing this?
I did a backflip out of my chair. I was so happy because that would mean the New York Jets, there's zero excuse not to bring him back, right? Like if it's 18 million, you're going to get we think Will McDonald can develop. We took him in the first round last year. We're concerned if he's going to be able to play at that. No. At 12 to 14 million, you can continue to play him 40 to 50% of the snaps, and you could expect him to give you double-digit sacks and be the guy that he's been. Really, like, I don't know if I buy it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I want to believe that maybe the NFL is just a little bit more down on Bryce Huff and that his market maybe is only going to be 12 to 14. I don't agree with it. My guess is he could probably get 16 to 18 million because I think someone's going to see him and be like, hey, I'm willing to play this guy 65% of snaps. Let's do it. But I hope that's not the case, because if it's 12 to 14, I think Joe Douglas could absolutely do that and keep him here.
Green Bean, what about you? What was your reaction to hearing Huff might only get $12 to $14 in the open market?
$14. That's all he's getting this son. I think, look, I know Connor did a real good job of making sure he said 3 or 4 times that this guy where I'm getting the info is right. More times, and I don't doubt it. I think he's wrong. And, you know, Ryan, you had a great, I think it was a tweet, if I remember
I have it
correctly.
pulled up, actually.
Yeah, well, so I'll leave that to you, but that detail then. But
I could show it on screen. Let me, I'll pull it up real quick.
I'll let you talk about it. I'll talk about Montez Sweat, you know. And if you guys saw Armchair GM, this was one of the main things I used, the main data points I used to describe why it would be an intelligent decision to tag and trade Bryce Huff, because Montez Sweat was just traded for a second-round pick. Montez Sweat played approximately, if I remember correctly, something in the neighborhood of 80% of the snaps, where Bryce Huff played approximately, what was it, 49%? And their numbers are comparable. So the idea, and he got $23.5 million. Now, do I think Huff is going to get $23.5 million? Probably not, but I don't think that he's in the 12 to 13 or whatever the hell it was, $13 million range. I think he's closer to the $18 million a year range, and that a team would be willing to give a second round pick and pay $18 million, because we just saw it happen with Montez. We just saw it happen with Montez Sweat. And you can argue one way or the other. Yeah, but Montez Sweat is a little bit better at this. But dude, Bryce Huff played 49% of the snaps, and his numbers are comparable to Montez Sweat's. When you do the math, you factor in the potential percentage that Bryce Huff could have played, his numbers would be better than Montez Sweat. So again, there's a few opportunities to look at examples that take that number that was given and make arguments otherwise. So if it happens, like Matt said, hey, if that's really the number, if he goes into the open market and that's what he's getting, I hope the Jets just say, hey, if that's the number, come back to us. We'll sweeten it a bit so we can stay right here. But I don't see that being the case.
Yeah, this didn't pass the sniff test for me, and I threw up the tweet. I sent it to you guys when we were talking about it in the group chat. So basically, Hughes is saying $12 to $14 million a year. Haason Reddick, in his 2021 season, his last year, or I guess his only year with the Panthers before he wound up signing a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, he had 438 pass rush snaps. Bryce Huff, 334. So Huff had 100 less pass rush snaps than Haason Reddick. He had double the amount of hurries as Reddick. He had nearly double the amount of hits, 7 hits to 12 hits. He had 5 less sacks than Reddick. I should have looked up actual percentage of snaps. That's one thing I did not look up for this. But 10 sacks for Huff versus 15 for Reddick. 44 total pressures for Reddick, where Huff had 67. So with Reddick signing a 3-year, $45 million deal, that's $15 million a year, but the cap has gone up by 20% since that deal was signed, But Connor thinks that Huff, who has better metrics than 𝐷𝐞, is going to get less, 20% less than what 𝐷𝐞 got 2 years ago, whatever it was. Like, that doesn't pass the sniff test to me. Like, if you're talking to me what I think Huff is going to get, I think the Jets are going to offer him 15, which is what the JFM contract is. And then I think he's going to get probably 18 to 20 on the open market would be my guess. And if he's playing 45% of the snaps right now, there's going to be someone out there that's willing to play him 70% of the snaps and live or die by the rush, by the running defense grade. And as far as comparatively 𝐷𝐞 to Huff on a run defense grade, they're both terrible against the run. Huff is a little bit worse, but they're both bad against the run. So it's not like this is a totally out of context conversation here. I don't think there's any way $12 to $14 million is actually getting done. If that's the case, the Jets should run and transition tag Huff right now for the lower amount and then just match what any other team is going to give him, because it's $12 to $14 million. He better be a Jet next year. Matt, anything else you want to say here?
No, I mean, I'm with you. I don't think that it's going to be between 12 and 14. My hope is that this guy is just right for whatever reason, or maybe the NFL is a little bit more down on him. Again, I don't know, but if that's what the cost is, I don't know how you don't figure out a way to get him back in here. That's just me.
Green Bean, anything more to add here?
Yeah. Now, he did bring up a solid argument, and this was one of Tigo's arguments when we were having this discussion, which is there is an idea out there that if the Jets are willing to move on from him and only play him 49% of the snaps, and you know that the Jets defensive staff is solid, right? Like, our defensive staff can be argued that is excellent, right? And that they know what they're doing, both developmentally and schematically. You see it time and time again, and you've seen other players develop within the system. Quincy Williams is a really good example of that. So the idea that the Jets are willing to get rid of him could mean that they feel that he functions very well. This is the role for him in this system. If he was able to do more, this staff would have identified that and played him more. He would have earned more playing time. So the idea that he's a product of this staff and that's the cap of his role could be argued out there. And some teams may look at him from that angle, in which case would support a $13 million type of a price tag. Now, I don't see that as a case. I agree with what you just said, Ryan. I think that what he's produced, if you look at his numbers from rookie to now, and don't forget, he was an undrafted free agent. People are like, oh, his rookie year, he was a schlub. I had this argument the other day. I'm like, dude, he was an undrafted. He didn't come in here as a first or second round pick. He had to earn every second of playing time. He had to start from the bottom of the heap and work his way through the entire ramp to get to where he is. You look at that, there's a consistent uptick in his production, in addition to the uptick in his playing time, the percentage of snaps that he's on the field. There are teams that are going to look at that and say there is no reason to believe that upward trajectory isn't going to continue. There's no reason to believe that unless you believe the Jets are 100% accurate in their determination that 49% of the snaps is his max. That's what he's going to give you. You play him more, he's going to wear down. He's too small to be a little bit undersized to be a 3-down defensive end. He'll wear down by the end of the game. Those kinds of things. That's really the only discrepancy, in my opinion. I think you're right, Ryan. I think teams are absolutely going to be willing to say 70%, no sweat.